Hello again, everyone. I'm Joe Longinusa, welcoming you to another edition of Next on the Tee with Chris-Mascaro, the show where industry leaders, golf professionals, and legends all come and discuss the great game we love so much. So without further ado, let's turn it over to our host to tell us who's next on the tee. Chris, take it away.
Hey, thank you, Joe. Hello, everybody, and thanks for coming back and joining me today on Next on the Tee. We are brought to you by the great folks over at the French Lick Resort. Folks, there isn't a better place to stay and play anywhere on the planet than the French Lick Resort. You'll see why I say that when you go check them out online at FrenchLick.com. I am your host, Chris Mascaro, and today I have the honor of getting a fourth visit from PGA Pro top instructor and co-founder of the Salute-Military-Golf-Associati, Jim-Estes. You hear us promoting the SMGA every week here on Next on the Tee because we are so proud and humbled by the work that Jim and the Salute-Military-Golf-Associati is doing to help either teach the game or bring the game back to our wounded warriors. Impressive, folks, this isn't a strong enough adjective to describe the impact of the work that Jim and the SMGA is having on our wounded warriors. I can't wait to have him update us on all the great things that they're doing. Jim is going to be along with me here in just a few moments. But let's start the show off right by starting, to let you get your mornings started off right, and that's by going to check out our friends over at Aroma Ridge because they offer an array of the finest mountain-grown gourmet coffees that you're going to find anywhere on the planet. You can find them online at aromaridge.com. Their secret? Hand-selected beans from a variety of coffee-producing countries from around the world. They roast those beans to perfection by their very own roast master. Their coffees are roasted specifically for you, and I mean that, specifically for you. And if you like a flavor in your coffee like I do, they can make almost any flavor that you can imagine. Plus, you can sort of even mix and match them if you want to create your own flavor. I'm currently drinking their Wicked Jack's Tavern Butter Rum Coffee, which is fantastic. And not only are their coffees great, but they're fantastic people as well. You are not going to find a better tasting coffee anywhere. And you're not going to find better people to deal with anywhere on the planet than the folks over at Aroma Ridge. And right now they have their Valentine's Day special going on their Wicked Jack's rum cake, chocolate rum cake, and red velvet cake. Folks, 20 ounces of deliciousness, I promise you that. Check out all of their great products online by going to aromaridge.com. Next on the Tee is also brought to you today and every week by our friends over at their French Lick Resort up in French Lick, Indiana. Folks, you want to talk about a spectacular resort to both play golf and to just relax and enjoy yourself? Well, you're not going to find a better place, like I say, anywhere on the planet than the French Lick Resort. Go to FrenchLick.com to see for yourself, and let's hear a word from our friends over there right now.
Now's the time to plan that golf getaway you've been dreaming about at French Lick Resort. We have new Golf Academy packages for 2016, guaranteed to take your game to the next level. Try our one-day Quick Fix Academy for golf emergencies. For more in-depth learning, try the Game Changer, designed to make you a better player. Our staff professionals are ready to work with you at French Lick Resort. Did you know there's only one place in the country that you can play courses designed by two members of the World Golf Hall of Fame on the same property? The Pete Dye and Donald Ross courses at French Lick Resort make us an ultimate golf destination for 2016. Check out the Ultimate Golf Package, the Hall of Fame Package, and other great offerings at FrenchLick.com. Let 2016 be that year you finally take your dream golf getaway at French Lick Resort. Play the courses champions play.
Yeah, I promise you. It is spectacular, folks. My family and I went up and spent some time there last summer, and they are already asking me when we're going back this year. The French Lick Resort needs to be on your list of places to stay and play. And oh, by the way, my friends, they have a casino right there on the property as well. For more information and to book your stay, go to FrenchLick.com. And every week here on Next on the Tee, we like to kick off the show by saluting the brave men and women serving in every branch of our military. We want to thank all of you for the daily sacrifices that you and your families make to protect our freedoms and our liberties. We also want to thank our veterans for all you and your families have done for us over the years. It's through the strength of our military personnel that our way of life is even possible. Our sincere thanks as well to Sean Cruz and the wonderful folks over at the Armed Forces Radio Network. It's an honor for us to have next on the tee be a part of your network. You can find our show by going to armedforcesradionetwork.org. Also want to remind our veterans out there to be sure to check out globalvoiceforveterans.org. You hear me talk about it every week here on the show. Great site with news and articles and a wealth of information specifically geared towards our veterans that I'm sure you're going to find both interesting and beneficial for you. Again, globalvoiceforveterans.org. All right, now back with me on the French Lick guest line is Jim-Estes. He is making his fourth appearance with me on the show, and I can't tell you how great it has been to have him on the show with us, each and every time. Let me remind you a little bit about Jim's background. He's from Washington, D.C., played his college golf at the University of Tennessee and the University of Maryland. Jim won the 1985 Maryland Amateur Championship, played on what's now the Web.com Tour in the late 80s and the 90s, winning the 1989 Greater Ozarks Open and the 1996 Nike Inland Empire Open. Jim also worked as a club professional during that time, winning the 1995 PGA Club Professional Player of the Year award from the PGA of America. Back in 2007, Golf Magazine presented Jim with the Innovator Award for the work that he does teaching the game of golf to our war veterans. You hear me talk about that every single week here on the show. Back in 2008, big year for Jim. He was awarded the Middle Atlantic Section's President's Award for the outstanding contributions to his local community. He finished 7th that year in the National Club Professionals Championship and qualified for the PGA Championship, and he was named Middle Atlantic Player of the Year. 2010, he was awarded the PGA Patriot Award. He is one of the best teachers that you're going to find of the game anywhere on the planet. And last year he played in the Senior PGA Championship, played, as you hear me talk about, and one of our sponsors, the Pete Dye Course, over at the French Lick Resort. And he is co-founder of the Salute-Military-Golf-Associati, which provides rehabilitative golf experiences for our wounded veterans. And I'm very thankful he is back and next on the tee again with me this morning. Hey, Jim, how have you been, my friend?
A little cold right now, but up here in D.C., we're got a wind chill of 5 degrees today. My coaching bay is shut down. But SMGA is having a planning session today, and we're getting some things hammered out for 2016 that are pretty exciting. So I'm excited to share those with you. And, we're just ready and raring to go for some good warm weather.
I bet you are. and Jim, we've been honored to partner with you guys in the Salute Military Golf Association to promote, the great things that you guys are doing to help our wounded veterans, and remind our listeners again, about the SMGA and update us on some of the things that you've got coming up.
Sure. Thanks. So the Salute Military Golf Association was founded in 2006, and our aim is to bring the game of golf as a form of mental and physical rehabilitation to veterans wounded in, Operation Enduring Freedom, Operation Iraqi Freedom. But we've expanded it now, so it's all overseas operations post 9/11. Anybody that's conducted services overseas that's been injured, and PTSD, TBI, those things all count, is eligible for our program. And we started out from a very humble beginning at Olney Golf Park in 2006. We had 5 combat wounded vets from Walter Reed, and we came over. They came over from a friend of mine who's a Vietnam veteran who wanted to do his part to give back. He invited guys out on a weekly basis and their families to a restaurant and invited me to come, and I got to speak about maybe giving them an outlet, getting them out of the hospital, and with the introduction of the American Golfer Program in 2013, which it links PGA professionals with post 9/11 injured vets who happened not to reside near one of our affiliate locations, like a chapter. We're now in 24 or 50 states, and we're excited with the American Golfer Program. We get PGA professionals linked up with wounded veterans, get them some lessons, and give them some custom-fitted golf clubs. And we've helped over 2,500 guys post 9/11 injured and their families. We're excited to have 2 new chapters online for this year. We're going to have one at Yankee Trace with Steve Marino as the director of golf there. And we had a meeting. One of our board members works at the Pentagon with the Army, and we're really sort of getting a population density of veterans that have retired, and we're looking at doing a couple new chapter locations as a result of that demographic study. Our policy guidelines are pretty simple. If you guys can give us information related to maybe like a DD 214 or something, we have two types of members. We have a full member, and those are members that have been injured while conducting overseas operations. And then we have participating members, which are guys that or ladies that have been injured while in a training exercise or something. In the United States, they were training for an operation and got hurt. So those are the two types of members that we have. And we allow to both participating and full members to come to our golf clinics. And we depend on, Walter Reed, some of the nurses and the PTs over there to spread the word. And they've been really good. There's something called the National Intrepid Center of Excellence, which is the government decided to spend some major dollars on research and development into traumatic brain injury. And the NFL, obviously, everybody's heard about that with traumatic brain injury. Anyway, we've had the good folks over there give us a lot of referrals, and so we're excited this year to. We also offer golf clinics for specifically here in D.C. for people that are folks that have PTSD and TBI, which is a separate day. So we have a Thursday clinic just for those folks, and then we have a Saturday clinic, which is a 2-hour clinic, plus we always want to have an hour for lunch because that's the real connection time, and that's the most important thing. You want to build up that connection, that trust, that feeling of belonging. And that's really what separates our program from all these other ones in the sense that we have a direct connection with our troops. And we let them know, hey, we're here for you. And we want them to know that they can trust us. As I've said before, I don't get anything from the organization. I get paid for my time. I'm an independent contractor. I work as a golf instructor, so I get paid for my time to do that. But we have staff people, and now I'm excited that we have 3 staff members that are going to be able to handle all the needs of our veterans. So as it relates to golf, Dan Flieger, who's our executive director, Gina Myers, who's our director of communications, and then we just brought on another man, John Riviere, who's going to be our director of programming. He's going to be responsible for all the orders that all of our chapter locations will be hopefully outfitted with good custom TaylorMade equipment. I just can't thank TaylorMade enough for what they do for us. They give us an unbelievable discount, and like I said, we've given out last year we gave out 275 sets of clubs, and this year it'll probably be over 350 sets. So
wow,
everything's free. We don't charge anyone anything. Nothing. That's the least we could do. I mean, selfless sacrifice is what I've learned from these troopers, man. I'll tell you what. So I'm here on earth to be as selfless as I can just based on what I've learned from them.
Wow, that is fantastic stuff, Jim. And, I want to make sure, that our listeners, get the full scope of, the great things you guys are doing. As you mentioned, you've helped out over 2,500 wounded veterans. You've individually fit 1,500 people. You do 80 golf clinics a year. You've raised over $1.5 million. And, one of the great things is I think, as a result of all of that, 92% of the wounded veterans you guys work with, it's helped them to deal with their post-traumatic syndrome. So that's some great stuff. Do you guys, Jim, do you ever get an opportunity or allow yourselves to kind of sit back and take in what all this really means? I mean, to help our veterans, especially those with post-traumatic syndrome, to get some enjoyment back in their lives?
I often I'm such a type A plus. I'm always looking at ways we can get better at what we're doing, and I don't give that much thought. But Jamie and I, from time to time, over an adult beverage, will talk about how we started from nothing and just an idea on a napkin. I mean, everyone can tell that story in business, right? But yeah. So Jamie's and the dedicated board folks. I mean, we're in such a hotbed for military service here in D.C. We've got so many qualified people on our board that have led, the amount of brain power in our board meetings is pretty pretty impressive. And what's important is everybody has a committee, and everybody's an expert in a certain area. So, we have people from the private sector that have run businesses. We have people in IT. We have people that work at the Pentagon. We have former commanders, Desert Storm commanders, and people that were over in Baghdad. And so we've got Purple Heart guys. 3 guys on our board are Purple Heart guys, and they've all been injured, critically injured. So we've got and they don't, and like I said, we're here on a Saturday morning, and that just tells you the kind of dedication that these guys have for what we're doing.
And Jim, you mentioned it briefly a moment ago, but for our listeners, they're thinking, wow, either A, I want to get involved, or B, I know a wounded warrior that could really benefit from this. You guys have chapters all over the country, but tell our folks how they can go out there and find out where to find you.
Yeah, so we just redid our website, and we've got forms on the website. So you guys can sign up for the American Golfer Program, and we will, like I said, we will get you with a golf professional, a PGA professional who's an expert in the business and the game of golf. But also you can call our home office, Gina Meyer, 301-500-7449, or 301-525-1639. That's Dan's number. And our third employee, which will start on Monday, I'm happy to get him going. The thing that we're doing, I think, again, that we're all called to do in the game of golf is grow the game. And there's 30 million people that are disabled in this country that don't play golf, and don't even know that they're accepted, or even people, this whole idea of physical challenge to me is amazing, because people that have one arm, triple amputees, can go out and hit a ball 230 yards. And so people that would otherwise not be ever exposed to the game of golf through SMGA are learning the game. One of our recent surveys, it was like 87% of the people that have gone through our program have never been exposed to the game of golf. So what does that say about our industry? What is that saying about our industry? That's saying that, I hate to say it, golf's a rich man's sport, and that's why our program works. And that label's got to go away. And now I'm on my soapbox. Sorry, but
go ahead. Please.
So that's how we're going to get people to play the game. Is we got to give them access and get them out there without worrying about all the barriers to entry that are, money and time and whether you're competent as a golfer. That's my job. So we try to, and the other thing I'm proud of is almost every person that's gone through our program is still playing golf today. It's over 99%.
Wow.
And the only 1% are people that are physically just unable to play more than 12 times a year, once a month. But most of our golfers are what I call, addicted golfers, guys that are out there, 30, 40, 50, 60 times, 70 times a year. So that's the thing that I think is really important. The quality of your program that speaks volumes to the quality of the program. So, we've always been very cautious about how much we expand, because we don't want to do things. We want a standardized way to do it, and so we want to make sure that we don't have any bad experiences. And of course, there's liability issues. We don't want to hurt people, so we have to have these pros physically screen these guys and make sure, hey, does your arm move that direction? So there's lots of different ways to play the game, but we don't want to hurt anybody out there. So the adaptive process of being able to screen people and figure out what's wrong with them and where they hurt and so on, that's a big deal.
Yeah, and just to kind of give the full breadth of, some of the injuries that guys are dealing with, and you've talked about amputees, but you guys are even able to help some folks that are dealing with some level of paralysis, because I've seen, some of the chairs that you guys are able to work with that allows and helps the guys, stand up, if you will. and
stand
still play,
up
correct?
and play. I mean, that's right. I mean, Anthony Neto is there's different forms of paralysis. You have tetraplegia, you got quadriplegia, and I'm not going to go into all the details, but some people's spinal cords have been severed from the waist down, like a Dennis Walters, who will never be able to move anything. And then some people have partial paralysis. And anyway, Stand Up and Play is an organization that Anthony Neto started. He's just a huge inspiration to guys that have paralysis. And this paragolfer that we use with the chair that's provided, it's basically, if you ever saw a greens mower, it's a 3-wheeled vehicle, and it's got a stick on it, and it's got a chair that lifts folks up, and it secures them in the seat so that they can get in a golf posture and play. And you can play off any sort of slope with this thing. And that we found that to be the most helpful vehicle. I mean, there's all sorts of single rider golf cars that are good, that all all the companies make, Easy Go and Golf and Club Car and so on. But we sort of think that this one, if you are someone with a spinal cord issue, you got to have. It's expensive, and we get them. They're like $20,000. We get them for guys. But it's just an incredible thing to see a guy that would otherwise never be able to play the game get out there and play with his buddies. Being able to play with your buds, that's a big deal. When you're a military guy, you're getting shot at together. You want to stick together at all times. It's big to be a part of that fraternal group. And so that's again, the golf's just a conduit. We're basically just giving these guys the opportunity to hang out with their buddies in a sporting atmosphere.
That's fantastic. And Jim, you guys have an event in 2016, the Bush Center Warrior Open. Talk about what that event's all about. Well,
we had one of our guys, Tim Lang, from a USA Today article, get pointed out. He used to hit 500 balls a day. He was an all-state quarterback. In 2008, I met him over at Walter Reed, and I said, Tim, you're a great football player, but you ought to try a real sport, golf. And he teased me, golf is for sissies, You've never been hit in your life. I'm like, yeah, you'd be surprised. I played some other things, but I said, you ought to try something that takes a little bit of skill. I can throw a football. Anybody can throw a football. Not very far, but I can throw it. And I was giving him grief. And next thing you know, he's out there hitting 500 balls a day. He becomes a 2 handicap, and, he's got a missing leg, and he was blown up, and, he can hit his drive, 285, 90 yards. And he's addicted to the game, and he's living in Ypsilanti, Michigan, hitting balls, and it's 15 degrees at this golf range, and we're paying for him, and he's practically, breaking our bank. But no, he's a Marine, and these guys are just unbelievable character, integrity, discipline, all the whole list of things that they represent. He's employing all these things. Next thing I know, President Bush's staff calls me and says, hey, I got this idea from this USA Today article. We want to do a Warrior Open. We want to recognize the 25 best Warrior golfers. Can you be on my committee? And of course, you don't say no to a president, right? That wouldn't be smart. So I fly down and we play his club, and, I'm on this committee with these people. And in 2010, the Warrior Open was that was the first year of it, and every year it just keeps getting better and better. And President Bush's the foundation, the folks there are just incredible. He's got people there that are as passionate as anyone that we have at SMGA. And what's great about his initiative is he's recognizing not only the veterans and their families, but he's recognizing military service organizations that are making a difference. And so in his process, he wants these guys to fill out an application and talk about, what organizations have had the best impact or the greatest impact on their recovery. And I'm proud to say, for the last 7 years, we've always had at least 4 or 5 guys come through that's come through our program that get picked for that tournament. And so every year I'm David Farady's there, and I mean, we've had Greg Norman, and President Bush is the type of guy that invites you to his house and you have dinner. You know, that's the type of guy he is, and not many presidents would do that. And you know, he as a tear comes in his eyes every time he says to me, you know, don't think that I don't think about these guys every night when I go to sleep. You know, and don't think that I don't know the repercussions of what's going on and what I had to do for our country. And you know, he's very passionate, and he cares. And I'm not saying that because, you know, of any political affiliation. I'm saying that from just a human being standpoint. You know, so that whole organization, the Warrior Open, it's a PGA. I mean, we had Ryan Palmer. We've had all the tour players come and play in the Pro-Am. And they got the ropes. They got the scoreboards. They got these guys, you know. It's just they roll out the red carpet. So,
yeah.
It's pretty cool. It really is. And it's I would never miss it. I mean, Ben Crenshaw's there. Kathy Whitworth's there. I mean, you name it. President Bush. I mean, who's going to turn down President Bush, right? I mean, so
right.
They've had Ryder Cups captains, you know, and so, but he's a trip. I mean, the guy is a trip. I mean, he drives around in his cart and he's like, "Hey, come on, guys! You guys got to do better than that. I can do that." You know, I mean, he just wants to be one of the guys. You know, it's hilarious.
That's fantastic. And Jim, you guys also partner with Booz Allen for tournaments that are held around the country. Talk about those events and how people can get involved and participate in them as well. Right.
So Booz Allen, they've expanded their footprint for us. We went. I was fortunate enough. Maria Darby, who's one of the board members at Booz Allen, one of the. Well, I guess she would be like a partner. I'm not a corporate guy, but yeah, she's a partner. So there's a lot of people that work there, and she's one of the partners, and she has some experience with the military. Her husband was in the military. Anyway, so that whole partnership since 2011 has just flourished because what they do is they're looking for a way to use golf in the corporate environment, and it's a great team building exercise for their employees to play with wounded veterans for a number of reasons. It motivates them to see these guys doing what they're doing on the golf course, but also it gives them insight into what these guys deal with. You're out there for 5 hours, you can really learn a lot about someone, and they've been fortunate in their participation because it just keeps growing. In other words, we started with 5 cities, now we've got 17 cities, and that money that goes directly to chapter affiliates or to the formulation of a chapter. So, a chapter is a big deal. You got to have a revenue stream. You got to have committed golf professionals. You got to have a venue that supports. You got to have food and beverage, and you got to have an ambassador, someone in this community, volunteer that can help logistics, and so. They've just been and they gave us a strategic plan. I mean, they put together a strategic plan, which is what they do for the defense industry, for, whatever industry they're in, all kinds of stuff. And they did that at no charge. And if we had to pay for that, it would have cost us an arm and a leg. So, one of our board members worked at Booz Allen, and it's been Andy McCann, who's just been a huge liaison for us. And pretty much we don't have to do much except provide the troops now. We fly them into the different cities, and these guys have become ambassadors to our program. These troops that have gone through our program are so good at speaking now, and so what ends up happening is a lot of guys get hired. So not only are we providing golf and an outlet for rehabilitation, but we're also helping those guys transition into a different career. And that's huge because when you get out of the military or when you get retired, in a lot of cases without, not even knowing why or just, hey, you're done, it's a pretty big blow to the family. And so they're taking part, Booz Allen, that is taking part in that transition process. So it's huge. Yeah, I imagine it is. That's fantastic stuff. And Jim, one of the things that our audience may not be aware of is, the military operates over 150 golf courses. Do you guys in the SMGA, do you get the opportunity to either, go put on events at some of those golf courses or go talk to our military personnel, that play there? Well, we have Lejeune and we have Bragg, we have Fort Eustis, we have Fort Drum. We have some, but no. I mean, I would love to be able to have some impact on some of those golf courses. That's a great idea, Chris. Maybe we'll put you on our board, or maybe we're going to put you. Maybe we'll make you a. I don't know what your title will be, but that's a great idea, and we might have some bandwidth now with 3 people working full time to be able to do that. I think that's like I said, with 8 or 9 chapters, being able to branch out is our goal. I mean, right? We want to. Our mission is to give as many people the opportunity to learn and play the game as possible. So that's a great idea. I know, the Air Force has, I think, the largest number of golf courses, and
that's right.
And it used to be DOD used to fund them, but now that's all gone. So golf courses' bottom lines are affected, and so I don't know why they wouldn't want us to come, because we can provide them with more, revenue by getting more golfers. So
that's right.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, we got to make that marriage happen. Yeah, to your point.
Yeah.
The Air Force has 60 golf courses. I mean, when you look at the different branches, they lead the way. Army's got 46, the Navy's 28, and on down from there. But that seems like a natural marriage between what you guys are doing and the golf courses that are out there that are operated by our military. So we got to make that happen, my friend.
I think that's a great idea. I was talking to this guy, Doug Query, and he runs all the player development programs for the Air Force. And at the PGA show, that was one of he went through my certification class we had in 2012, and he's a brilliant guy. I mean, but, we just didn't have the bandwidth. I mean, we have all these ideas, and, some of them just get tabled. But, I mean, I'm going to make that happen. I think that's a great idea.
So, Jim, obviously I'm a guy that's always on your website, smga.org. 2016 events. When will we be able to see some of the things that you guys have got on the docket for 16?
Well, I tell you what. Hopefully, I can get on the Golf Channel. And I can get on radio stations like this and just tell people about what we're doing. But I want to say this about SMGA, and for 2016, our goal is these 2 chapters. Right now, our average number of people that go through a clinic series in 8 weeks is between 40 and 50. And at my site in Albany, we do about, and this is troops and their families. Now we don't exclude anyone. We want the caretaker, we want the kids, we want anybody and everyone. But, our goal is to go from, say an average of 40 people in a clinic to 80. And we want a 4 or 5 to 1 teacher-student ratio. So that just means more opportunities for PGA professionals, more opportunities and so, with the 2 chapters, one in Dayton, we're looking at right now going to Washington State. We just had, like I said, a meeting with the Pentagon, and there's a high density of troops there, and so those are 2 things you can look for on our website. But the American Golfer program, we started to fund the American golfers about $1,200 a person. So, we've got over 100 people signed up now, and I think we've expanded to 150. We'd like to make it 1,000. So. Again, being able to give them a custom-fitted clubs, an instruction program, a coaching program that's going to get them on the golf course, and obviously player retention is huge, and so we have a sustainment program. You can take lessons, if you're a full member, every year, and I think it's 4 lessons every year. So that's part of our sustainment program. We don't want anybody to get drop the ball, and we drop the ball if somebody quits. So. We also give them, not only do we give them equipment, we give them clothes, we give them, a rule book. We talk a little bit about etiquette and all that kind of stuff. But it's just, from from a guy who started with one charity event to raise money. Now we've got, Booz Allen helping us, and we've got the U.S. Seniors Golf Association is a huge part of us. They give us tremendous boost every year with funding. And, we just RBC just gave us a check at the end of the year, 2015, and we're hoping to do something with them. So, I think that we're going to get a golf refinishing company. I didn't even know these existed, but there's golf refinishers. They refinish golf balls. They want to help us. And, the PGA Show is a huge opportunity. I know. They want to provide balls for us and logo stuff. And, we do all these golf tournaments. We want a nice swag bag, to give out. And it's not expensive to play in these tournaments, by the way, either. For Booz Allen, it's like $75 to play. The Booz Allen tournament, so it's very cheap. If you have to go out and play golf, you could probably, some courses cost more than that just to play, and then you're going to get golf, you're going to get lunch, you're going to get a swag bag, so and you're going to get to meet some vets and one-on-one play some golf with those guys, and that will amaze you in and of itself. So
yeah.
So
well, Jim, I hope to meet up with you guys if you guys do an event again this year in Augusta, Georgia.
Well, yeah, I want you to play. I want you to play in our event. I got to check your game. I got to give you a couple lessons. I want to make sure you're not sitting down all day. We got to get you on the golf course. So you're going to be our brand ambassador.
There you go. And I can certainly take a lesson or two. I promise you that for a guy that is probably sporting somewhere in a 12 to 15 handicap. I could use a little help.
Well, yeah. You've probably got a pretty good command of your golf ball, but you could use a few tips, I'm sure.
Of course I could. And to let everyone know, again, smga.org. I went online earlier today. I bought my SMGA golf shirt so I can make sure that I'm
cool.
representing the
Thank
organization
you,
as well. So when I go out there, and they've got some great stuff online, folks. So great ways to get
we
involved
have a story,
and help.
I forgot to say push that, but So. This whole idea, of growing the game that we're trying to grow and being passionate, and golf professionals, I'm speaking to you too. If you're out there, and please call me if you have an interest in helping. It'll change your life. I guarantee you, it'll change your life. It'll be the most rewarding thing you ever do, just to get these guys and gals playing the game.
Yeah, no, there's no question. Thanks for putting that out there as well, Jim. We appreciate that. Couple things before we let you go, Jim. I wanted to, let's get on the course a little bit and some things going on in and around the game, and for folks to be aware of as well. Jim-Estes Golf. Check it out online. You can find a wonderful Facebook page. And Jim, I was looking on there recently. You've got 3 swing drills that we can do to help help us make a little more solid contact. Talk about giving me a lesson. Take us through those.
Yeah, so the swing drills, this plane drill, I call it lag and drag. So the plane drill is you just take an alignment rod. It's a plastic dowel rod, and you hold it in your left hand, or you stick it in the butt end of the shaft. If you can find an old club, don't stick it in a brand new club. That probably wouldn't be a good idea. But and then you put another alignment rod on the ground, and you put the golf club right on the alignment rod and set up to the golf ball like you're getting ready to hit it. And the club face is going to be, or the bottom of the club's resting on that alignment rod. And then as you take the club back, you're going to have the butt end of that golf club with the alignment rod in your left hand is going to point right to the target line, which is that shaft on the ground represents your target line. So if you can keep that shaft you're holding when you take the club back pointed at the shaft on the ground, you're going to have the golf club on the proper plane. And so your swing direction is going to be instantly, you're going to be hitting super solid shots pretty much almost instantly, because you're going to see that the club head is going to swing right down the target line when that shaft is pointing at the shaft on the ground. So there's only 2 points where the club shaft is parallel to the target line, and that's halfway back, halfway down, and at the top. Actually, it's 3 at the top of your swing too. So that's the first drill. The super solid impact drill, I like it. I call it the lag or drag drill. Take a golf club, set up to it. Or you can take anything, really. You can take a mop, you can take anything, and just hold the club about 1 foot behind the ball on the ground, and just from that point, use your body and drag that golf club across the ground. I wouldn't do it on concrete. Probably not a good idea. Probably not even a good idea to use a club. You could take something besides a club. Maybe a ball picker. Hopefully you don't have a ball picker in your bag. That says something a little bit about your game. But anyway, that's going to give you super solid feel of impact because you're going to have a flat left wrist. You're going to have the handle of the club moving with the club head, which is an absolute fundamental imperative. A flat left wrist is going to be attainable from that sensation of dragging the club from 2 feet behind the ball to 2 feet in front of the ball. So that's the second drill that I think is great. And, the third drill is a drill that has to do with a pivot. And what I like to do in this one is I take a ball in your right hand and get in your golf stance and take a backswing, just as if you were going to throw that golf ball in your right hand. Then as you swing down, I want you to throw the golf ball right at the ground and try to let it go right where a ball would be as if you were hitting it. And if you can time that, that basically gives you the sensation of the timing in the swing, and it also gives you a feeling. And everybody's thrown something. So if you know how to throw something, you know how to swing a golf club. And that's a great sort of motor program that's somewhere in your head that you can access to give you the sensation, the feeling of a good swing.
Yeah.
So those are three drills.
I've never heard that before. That's a very interesting drill. I'll have to try that one out myself.
Yeah.
And
so you just take a golf ball in your right hand. If you're left-handed, obviously take it in your left hand. Get in your golf stance, take a backswing, and then throw that golf ball right at the ground. And obviously you want to try to hit the ball on the ground that you are getting ready to hit. And that'll give you a feeling of releasing the club, getting your right hand, throwing a ball is exactly the sensation you want to have when you swing a golf club. So, I've probably got 30 or 40 drills that I'm going to be sending out over the course of this year through, email campaigns and stuff on my website. But those three there are, a lot of research is pretty clear. If you can do something similar to a movement pattern you've already developed, that's going to be powerful to really get this long-term skill development ingrained.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic stuff. Great thought there. And Jim, talk about some of the exercises that we can do to prepare ourselves for golf season. Even for our listeners who may be snowed in or where you're at, with the frigid temperatures and we can't get outside yet. But what are some of the things we can do to prepare our bodies?
Well, I'll tell you what. If you're sitting down in an office job, the best thing to do is get a Swiss ball that's 65 centimeters and sit on it instead of a chair. And here's why: it's going to activate your core musculature. Your oblique abdominals, which are the muscles on your side, your rectus abdominis, the ones in the front. And, what I recommend is every half an hour, get up, and then take that ball, that Swiss ball, roll it out. And there's several things you can do. One would be try to lift while sitting on the Swiss ball. Lift up your right foot just slightly off the ground. Place your arms in an X with your hands on your shoulders and rotate to the right and rotate to the left. Try to do that 5 times. And what you'll find is it creates instability. And when you create instability, again, you activate those muscles to stabilize your pelvis. And you're turning your upper body against the resistance of your lower body. You want to create some disassociation there. So that's what I do when I'm doing stuff in my house. In my office, I sit on the ball, and I'll do also. And another exercise I would say for the Swiss ball is try to put kneel on the ball. By kneeling with your right, you're going to stand, right? You got the ball. Yeah. You're going to try to kneel on the ball with your knee, holding your right knee on the Swiss ball. And then from there, what you're going to do is roll that Swiss ball out. So in effect, you're doing sort of a lunge squat. So you're going to take your knee, let's say your right knee, put your right knee on the Swiss ball, and then roll that ball out behind you, And what you're going to do again is get in, and that's going to give you your glutes and your quadriceps work, because the most important muscles for power are your glutes and your quads. Your femur is the biggest bone in your body, and the quads is the biggest muscle in your body. And there's all kinds of forces you generate in the golf swing. One is vertical force, one is rotational force. And so by getting your legs strong, you're using the power. Ground force reaction is going to translate into more speed. So you got to keep your legs strong. And I think what people do that work all the day and in chairs, their lower body gets really weak. And so that's something, and then do wall squats. Take that, sit on that ball and then go up and down the wall with your back against the wall. And that'll only take you 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You do that, I tell you what, it'll make a big difference.
Yeah,
you can roll out on them. Kneeling on
I got a roller chair here.
Yeah.
I'm doing it while you're talking. That's some good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm a big fan of wall squats. Even lift your heels or your toes off the ground. Put your heels together like you're in a plie. People laugh about ballet, but I guarantee you've never seen a ballet dancer that didn't have strong quads and strong rear end.
Right.
And one of them is you put your heels together, lift your heels off the ground, and then squat down and just hold that position for 30 seconds. You'll die, trust me. You got to stand upright.
That's good stuff. Thanks for sharing that, Jim. As I mentioned in your intro, and I want to make sure we get this in, you qualified to play in last year's Senior PGA Championship, which was held on the Pete Dye course at one of our sponsors, the French Lick Resort.
Yeah.
You made the cut there on a beautiful but very difficult golf course. Talk about your experience playing in that event.
Oh, it was so cool. I mean, when my wife and I got there and went to the old hotel and saw where, Al Capone and Lucky Luciano and all these gangsters, they have this area. It's an underground, under the casino. They have this area where there's like an underground tunnel, and it was so cool checking that out. And the hotel is phenomenal. I mean, if you like grand old hotels that spare no expense, that offer amenities that, you don't see very often. I mean, 5-star quality hotel. And, the staff, we had just a phenomenal time. I mean, they have everything you could think of to do there. I mean, they had a game room, they had this, they had that. So, I mean, from soup to nuts, the quality of the experience that we had there was second to none. I mean, we had a great time. And when you're playing a golf tournament, and you get old like me, you look at the amenities more than you look at practice. So, because you can't practice, 4 hours or whatever it is, back starts hurting and stuff. So we had a great time, and we hung out and did a lot of stuff there. And it was a pleasant surprise. It really was. Can't say enough about that whole experience. It was phenomenal. I'd highly recommend it.
Yeah. FrenchLick.com to book your opportunity to stay and play in the Pete Dye course is absolutely phenomenal. Had an opportunity for my father and I to play it. What a golf course.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's the largest piece of property I've ever seen. I mean, with that much slope to build a golf course, it was just an amazing piece. And those mowers, what they have, that whole staff, what they do to maintain a course, unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. And Jim, you talked about the PGA merchandise show down there. Just curious to get your thoughts on some of the things that you saw there. Yeah,
so this app, you got to get this app. It's called Blast Motion. It's a little gyroscope you put on your putter, and it tells you how long your backstroke is and your forward stroke is. And what the research is coming down to is if you can make your backstroke the same speed back and through, it's usually 2-to-1, so we'll call it 0.6 seconds going back and 0.3 coming through. If you can do that consistently, your distance control will be unbelievable. I've been using this thing. My wife thinks I'm absolutely nuts. I put this thing on, and I'll practice for an hour, and this little machine, it's an app you put on your phone, right? So I take the putter back, and it'll go, your backstroke was 0.57 seconds. and your forward stroke was 0.32 seconds. And then it'll say, okay, your club face was 0.1 degree closed at impact, and your face rotated 1.6 degrees on the backstroke and 1.4 degrees on the forward stroke. Oh, yeah, it's got all this data on it. And Dr. Craig Farnsworth, who's puttdoctor.com, he turned me on to this thing. Mike Bentley, who started KVS, which is 3D motion analysis, he's just a genius guy. He's the founder of this blast motion. And I'm telling you, there's guys on the PGA Tour using it and on the senior tour. Sluman and a lot of guys are using it. And it's so simple to use. That's what I love about it.
Yeah, how does it work?
It's just this little chip thing. You put it inside the grip. You stick it on the end of your putter. You download the app. The app's like $100, and it's Bluetooth wireless. So, yeah, so it's that simple. I mean, even I can understand how to use it. So, so you put it on there, and the thing just, it tells you every putt you hit what your backswing speed is. Time. So, like I said, the goal would be 0.6 on the back and 0.3 through, and if you can just practice that and get consistent with the pace of your stroke, it's going to be consistent. Your distance control is going to be. So the idea would be if you have a 4-footer, obviously you're going to have a shorter stroke. The club is going to swing at a slower rate of speed, but the time doesn't change. It still takes 0.6 seconds to go back and 0.3 going through, but the speed of your stroke is going to be slower. If you have a longer putt, and it takes 0.6 to go back and 0.3 to go through, it's going to be a little faster stroke because you have a longer stroke. So that, in and of itself, if you just get that and practice with it, your distance control is going to be huge. And what they've found in research is if you can get the time of your stroke consistent, then the face of the club will have less variation at impact. So it's really not about mechanics. It's just about repeating that stroke, which is what I love. Because it's not telling you, okay, you have to use your left hand, use your right hand. All it's saying is swing the putter at the same time every time. Make it go back 0.6, make it go through 0.3. So
but it also tells you how square the putter face is, right?
Oh, it tells you everything. You can have everything. It tells you, total rotation, backstroke rotation, forward stroke rotation. It tells you your tempo. It tells you, what the face angle is at contact. Is it open 1 degree? Is it open 1.5 degrees? Is it closed? So you'll get an idea instantly how consistent your stroke is. And if I had that when I was a kid, oh my gosh, it would have been over. I would have instead of
how many more putts could you make?
Yeah, instead of my career earnings being $220,000, it would have been, probably who knows. But it was pretty enlightening. And so let's see, what else did I see there? I was looking at everything. This Zepp app is another one. ZEPP. It's something you put on your glove, and it gives you all the data that like Doppler with TrackMan or FlightScope.
Yeah.
I have FlightScope. It's 3D motion analysis, and it gives you stuff like club face position at impact. It also tracks the golf ball. It tracks your attack angle. It tracks all that stuff. I could get into all those details with you, but if you want, but horizontal swing plane, vertical swing plane, these things that you'd have to define, but basically when you're looking at a launch monitor, you want to look at your ball speed, your club head speed, your club path, your face angle at impact, stuff like that. So you can have an understanding of. So that's another one. I like that. And I use Eyeline products. I could go on, but I don't know how much you want to hear me babble.
That's great stuff, though. That's information for our folks that don't get an opportunity to go to the PGA Merchandise Show down in Orlando every year, and for folks that don't get the opportunity to be there or get the full breadth of everything that's coming out new on the market. That's some great stuff.
Yeah, I'm very cautious about training aids because like most people, I'll buy anything to help improve the golf game, but you really got to do your due diligence and figure out, think on your own a little bit like an inventor and say, okay, is this really viable? Is this really going to help me? And So, I'm always asking other pros. I do evaluations with other pros before I buy stuff now, just to see what they think. And, the simpler the better. The less thought, the better.
I mean, all the contraptions, right, that we've strapped onto ourselves and put, here or there, and that sort of thing. I mean, golf is hard enough as it is, right? And you got contraptions all over yourself trying to figure out how to fix, this swing issue or that swing issue, and this swing thought and that swing thought. It becomes so mechanical, and you got your head cluttered with everything. It makes the game even that much more difficult. So some of this stuff, hopefully, is very easy and helps us, not be encumbered with a strap around our shoulders or our waist or whatever.
Exactly.
So that's
my whole philosophy is if you don't have to think, if golf is played from an unconscious level, not from a conscious level. Guys that play at the highest level, even in sport at the highest levels, it's unconscious. You cannot think your way through it. And if you're trying to think your way through it, good luck to you. You're gonna fail. So
that's right.
The thing is, you get as many things right before the swing, ball position, foot weight distribution, heel to toe, forward and back, set up stuff, and work on your swing in a mirror, because there's, you want block training, which is hitting or making repeated movements, and you want random training. You want, change clubs and simulate the environment in which you're going to play. You want both of those, and but you definitely want to do more random practice than block practice, and you want to incorporate motion training in a mirror. I mean, that's really important to get a feel, because at the end of the day, you want to access feel. You don't want to access thoughts. It's not an intellectual exercise.
Right.
So,
Jim, I love having you on the show so much. I mean, get the opportunity to not only listen about the great things that you're doing with the Salute Military Golf Association, but to hear some of the training thoughts and the exercises and just the conversation. I walk away from every time you've been on the show, and like I said, I've been blessed to have you now 4 times be a guest on this show. Every time I walk away, I got a smile on my face, not only just from hearing about the great things that you're doing, which is so fantastic, but the conversation. You make me laugh, you make me smile. I can't thank you enough for coming back and being on the show with me again today.
No, I love being on. I appreciate what you're doing for us, and it doesn't go unnoticed, I promise. And if I can do anything to help you in any way, give me a call, because I'm here for you.
I appreciate that very much, Jim. Remind our listeners one more time, how can they find you in the Salute Military Golf Association, both online, on Facebook, and the other places over social media as well?
Yeah, so they can call 301-500-7449. That's our office number. Or they can call 301. Don't just call the 500 number. But ask for Gina Myers. That would be our communications person.
Okay.
She helps with our Facebook page, Twitter, and the thing I would encourage the troops that are listening is to go on our website and look at our American Golfer program. I think it's something that everybody should look at, and I think it will motivate a lot of people to take up the game of golf. I really do.
That's great stuff.
So smga.org. Buy an SMGA shirt online too. That wouldn't hurt either.
That's right. I did this morning. I can't wait to get it.
I know.
And support my sport. And, yeah. And for our folks looking for you guys on Twitter, it's at SMGA Warrior Golf. That's how you can get the Salute Military Golf Association. You can find Jim at OneGolfDoc. He's there on Twitter as well. So Jim, thanks so much for being here again and for being a part of the show. And I love everything that you're doing.
Thank you,
and I hope,
Chris. I appreciate.
I hope we get the
everything
opportunity
you're doing
to catch up soon. I appreciate that very much, Jim. Thanks for being here, coming back on the show. We look forward to catching up again, hopefully very soon. In the meantime, my friend, all the best to you, your family, and everyone at the Salute Military Golf Association.
Well, I just want to thank all the troops that are out there for their service and self-sacrifice. It doesn't go unnoticed. And but anybody wants to call me and go on my website or email me, I'm happy to take questions on the golf swing. I love it. All right.
Very good. Thanks, Jim. Thanks very much. We look forward to catching up with you again really soon, my friend.
All right. Take care.
Take care, Jim. That is Jim-Estes, and again, his last name is spelled E-S-T-E-S. So Jim-Estes, And like I say, folks, boy, it just doesn't get better than the things that they are doing on the Salute Military Golf, on the Salute Military Golf Association, smga.org. You can look up Jim, like I say, online on Facebook. He has got some great stuff that good videos that, like I say, some of the things he shared with us this morning, some of the exercises and the drills. It's Jim-Estes Golf. You can find him on Facebook. Take a look, and boy, I tell you what, and I'm sincere, folks, when I say it. When I get the opportunity to have Jim as part of the show, he makes me laugh, he makes me smile, and I feel better, having listened to the things that he is sharing and the things that those guys are doing. I'm just, I'm so overwhelmed with the great stuff that the Salute Military Golf Association is doing, and that Jim is doing as a part of that, and just for our wounded veterans, and just for golfers in general. He is just so fantastic. I can't urge you enough to go on smga.org and to get involved and to see where they've got a chapter. If you know somebody that could utilize what they're doing and benefit from it, or just to get involved so that you can help be a part of it. So again, smga.org. All right, folks, it is time for me to put a bow on this episode of Next on the Tee. My sincere thanks to Jim for joining me today, and like I say, making the show so much fun for me to be a part of. I hope you enjoyed it as well. Also want to encourage you, please check out our sister show, Thursday Night Tailgate, with me, my co-host Bob Lazari, and our announcer Joe LaGenusa. That show airs live every Thursday night. You can find us from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time on Blog Talk Radio, shortly thereafter on the Armed Forces Radio Network as well. You can also find this show and that one on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, TuneIn, Stitcher, Player.fm, SoundCloud. We're all over the place. Please check us out, and you get to hear the great guests that we have on this show. On Thursday Night Tailgate, we have legends from the game of football, both from the NFL and the CFL. They join us. Please also check out our Facebook pages, Thursday Night Tailgate, Next on the Tee with Chris Mascaro. Interact with us there. That's important to us as well. Please give us a like. We appreciate it very much. And as Jim says, that doesn't go unnoticed. You can find us online, this show, nextonthetee.net. ThursdayNightTailgate.com. You're able to stream or download any of our archive episodes for free, folks. Plus, you have the opportunity to stay up to date with who some of our future guests are going to be on both shows. Like I say, we can't thank you enough for choosing to listen to this show today. We really appreciate it. We know you have hundreds of choices out there for shows to listen to, stream, or download, and we really appreciate that you've made Next on the Tee one of them. Until next week, my friends, hit 'em straight.
You've been listening to Next on the Tee with Chris Mascaro, where PGA and LPGA legends, pros and top instructors, and media members go to tell their stories. Join us the same time every Saturday to hear more stories about the game we love, from the people who love sharing those stories with you. It's all about the great game of golf. It's all about the great game of golf.